Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for joining me. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel and check out the other videos. And if you're here for a second, third, or fourth time, thank you so much for coming back and getting creative. Alright guys, another fun beginner painting. So grab your supplies, transfer your traceable to your surface, and as always, make sure you take your progress photos. Now on my traceable, I did go over it with a black Sharpie marker for those of you at home that are going to pause the video and draw what you see. If you use the traceable, you do not have to go over this with the black Sharpie marker. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start with a light blue, and I'm using that large flat brush. And to make your light blue, it's going to be white with a little bit of blue. And if your blue is a little lighter or darker than mine, that's totally okay. And we're going to lay a horizon line across, and it's going to kind of split the sail. It's going to be about probably 2 inches from the bottom of the sail. You can kind of see where I put it on there. Doesn't have to be exact. And then we're going to be filling in the space above that line. And I just demonstrated a few different brush strokes using the full width of the brush, the sideways, skinny version, and making X marks. So as you're filling in your background, try all 3 of those brush strokes, and whichever one that you happen to feel a little bit more comfortable with, you can stick with that as you're filling in the remaining portion of your background. Now, if you have to mix your light blue shade 2 or 3 times, don't stress about getting the exact same shade every time. A little diversity in your background is only going to be of benefit for you. And I am bringing the background color right up on top of those traceable lines. And if you are on a stretched canvas, I do recommend that you carry this color around the sides of the canvas. It just looks nice when it hangs on the wall, having that color wrap around the edge. All right, so here on my mixture, I actually got a little bit darker blue. And like I said earlier, if your shade's a little bit different, that's okay. It just adds a little bit more dimension into your background. And you can see where I took some of that darker and put it on the right-hand side. And then you just kind of move your brush with light pressure on top of that and do a little bit of blending. We will get a little more into that concept throughout the video. So now we're going to go with a medium blue, and that's just adding a little bit more blue to your mixture, going 1 or 2 shades darker than what you went. And now we're going to start putting the water in there. And we're going right up to that traceable line, and we will be going underneath the sails, and then we're going to bring it into those kind of angled marks below our boat. There we go. So I want you to just kind of observe the shape that I make with this and mimic that to the best of your ability on your canvas at home. You are strengthening your power of observation each time that you paint and follow along with the video. Now, as you can see here, I did finally at this part remember to put a little bit of the blue area in between the sails, but I did forget to do that for the sky, so I'll be going back to that later. So if you were conscious enough when we were painting the sky and you got that area filled in, good job. But right here, I did grab the smaller brush and go back and add to it. So wherever you're at on yours, just make sure you get some paint in between those sails. You guys are doing a great job. All right, so now we're going to move into our boat color and kind of get that base color on there, and then a little bit of that color below the bottom of the boat as if it's reflecting onto the water. All right, so this is a good spot to pause the video and take a progress photo before we move into the boat color. And I am moving back down to that small pointy brush, and we're going to make a light teal. And that's white with a little bit of teal. If you want a different color for your boat, feel free to swap this out. And if you prefer sunset in your background, go ahead and swap that out as well. Full permission to deviate from the color choices on any of my videos. All right, so taking that light teal, filling in the base of the boat, excuse me, and going right over those traceable lines again. And we'll do a little bit of shading on here. Going to go for a little bit of a medium teal. So adding a bit more teal to that mixture. And now we're going to go below the boat, slightly mimicking the shape of that boat, following that those angled lines going out. We will be putting blue water lines on top of this to look like it's cutting through the water. Right now we're just getting those base colors going. All right, so now grabbing some of that white, both the paint is still wet, so I'm going right back to the structure of the boat and kind of putting that white on the top and blending it in to that base teal color, and then also going to below the base of the boat as well. All right, so now we're going to grab teal and blue. It's going to make a bit of a darker color, and we'll be going back to our water area. And again, this part I'm actually going right over some of the other colors, so using that light pressure. And if you did happen to let this dry, cool. If you ended up are painting fast enough and this is still wet paint, it's totally okay if some of the other colors blend in with this darker teal. And again, just kind of putting these in a few random areas using a long kind of horizontal brush stroke. And if you look at this from a distance, it kind of looks like the ripples on the water. We're actually going to be doing quite a bit of this once we get that bottom section in there. All right, so now grabbing that white and a little bit more of the teal, going even lighter. And we're going to fill in that bottom area. And I used more white because this would be the reflection of the white sails on the boat. So that's why we're kind of putting that color in there. And I am still working while my paint is still wet. So where the two colors meet, using that light pressure, you can kind of blend that line a little bit. And now we're moving into a light blue and just finishing off the remaining space of the canvas on those right and left hand side. Again, light pressure, just kind of going over all of it as it's blending, and we will do more with those water lines towards the end after we get the sails on there. So you saw that was a good spot to pause the video and take your progress photo. We're going to move up to the sails, and we're going to put a base on there first. So we're going to put a decent amount of thickness of white on each of the sails. And again, I'm going right over those traceable lines. I don't want to see any of those by the time I'm done covering up those sails. And again, we're putting that base of white on there, and then we're going to introduce a light gray, a little bit darker gray, and then we're also going to introduce a little bit of the light blue into that. Because out in nature, this white sail canvas would actually be reflecting the colors around it. So a little bit of blue would show up on it. So again, you're just getting that white on there, and then we're going to do the wet on wet blending um, right now. So pulling a little bit of that black aside to make a light gray, and that is white with a little bit of black, and you'll notice a little pigment goes a long way. And then I want you to just observe the place and the shape that I put this on the sails and mimic that to the best of your ability. And again, if yours is a little lighter or darker than mine, totally okay. All right, and that light pressure. Now going for just a little bit darker gray, so maybe one shade darker than what you were using, just to enhance some of those, the deepness of some of those shadows. And then we'll be making a light blue next and kind of putting that just in one or two spots on the sail. If you guys are holding your breath, remember to breathe. I usually say that a little sooner in the video, but I forgot. So just get your laugh a little bit, and you're doing a great job. So here's where we're taking that light blue, and it is rather light. And again, just giving a hint that this is hanging out in this big blue environment with the sky and the ocean, and it is reflecting the colors around it. All right, and if you need to go back, light pressure, you can clean all the paint off your brush. And kind of with almost a dry or a slightly wet brush, you can still do some of your blending. Keep that pressure light, and if you are inclined to finger paint, go right ahead and do that. All right, good place to pause the video, take your progress photo. This is a point that you can let it dry and add these on top of it, or you can just move right into it wherever step you're at or whatever dryness. And here's those horizontal lines that I was talking about. So I'm using that large flat brush. You can use the middle flat brush as well, and keeping these very horizontal lines. I want some of them going off the edge of the canvas. I want them coming right up next to the bottom of the boat, going off the bottom of the canvas. And again, from a distance, this gives the illusion that these are ripples in the water. And you can do this with white, you can do it with teal. I believe we'll do it with a few colors here. But you adjust to what you need as you look at your painting from a distance. Do you need more of the white? Do you need more teal? Do you want more blue? You can even throw in light blue and just kind of play with how the water is looking. I do want you to leave some space in between these marks so that way you can still see the hint of where we put the body of the reflection of the boat and even a hint of the reflection for the sails. So here, going back in with the white, same mark making, these long kind of horizontal brush strokes. And again, that white just kind of gives it a bit of a pop, a bit of a highlight color. You guys are doing a great job. Hopefully you are enjoying and just getting lost in the process of painting, and just really proud of yourself for transforming a blank surface into something that you created. All right. Now, this is a place that I would recommend that you fully let your painting dry before you do the outline. And you can use the medium flat brush like I'm using, and I'm holding it sideways as I create the lines, or you can use your small pointy brush. No matter what brush you're using, you want to play with the pressure of your brush. I'm actually using about medium pressure because I want these lines to have a little bit more width to them. But if you use light pressure, the line is going to be a lot skinnier. So play with the pressure, and this is something that the next time that you paint, you'll be a little bit more comfortable making these lines, because right now, if this is your first time doing this, your brain and your muscles are taking in a lot of information. So be kind to yourself if you have varying widths of lines. Um, just the fact that you're painting, you're doing a great job. Now, as you're making these lines, if you are noticing that your pressure's staying the same, but the line just keeps getting wider and wider, take a look at your brush. If you've got a lot of paint buildup on your brush, that's going to expand the bristles. So if you need to, fully clean the brush, wipe off the excess paint, and then reload with fresh paint, and then go back to apply your lines. Don't overthink it. It's just painting. It's just creative time. You can paint this multiple times, and the next time that you paint this, a lot of stuff that you're learning right now will show up as a result of your learning. So that's why I encourage all my students to find creative outlets on a regular basis. So now some of the lines that I'm adding are just details on the boat, and then we'll be going into the water, similar to those long horizontal lines, but just kind of, again, the places where um, the black on the yacht or on the boat would be reflecting onto the water. So again, you can use your assessment on where you might want to put this if somewhere I do not put it. So I'm really proud of you guys. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to get creative. Don't wait too long to do your next one. And until then, cheers. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the process of painting, and I hope you are happy with how your paintings turned out. I'm really proud of you for getting creative. As you're uploading these to social media, please tag me at or hashtag paintwithlovejoy, or email me your pictures, paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com. I really enjoy seeing them. I try to post them on social media to encourage other beginner painters to try the process of painting. But please share this with your community as well. Anybody who is kind of scared to paint, share your experience with them and let them know kind of how much you benefited from it and how much you enjoyed the process. So kind of share the fun. With that being said, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, things that you want me to paint in the future, please leave a comment. I try to respond to everybody as quickly as I can. And any of the future suggestions for paintings, I add that to my production list and get to them as quickly as I can. So in the meantime, please keep getting creative. Let me know how you're doing. And until next time, cheers.